Hello everyone, Oregon Moto John here. I just want to do an update on my 24 KTM 300 TBI. This is the best dirt bike I've ever had. Now, the Husky FE 350S for something that's streetable is awesome. So I'm just talking about trail dirt bikes at the moment because I don't want to take anything away from the other bike because that's one of the better bikes I've had as well. But for on the trails, I can honestly say this is the best bike I've ever had. And I've had a few, so that says something. It does everything well. It tractors, it lugs, it mid-range. The brakes, the Brumbo brakes are great. Really, really good. The best brakes I've ever had. They're better than some of the other ones that are used. Modulate well. They have lots of power. You can one finger, two finger them, and there's plenty of modulation and power there, so I like that. This engine tractors along. It gets decent fuel economy. The headlight comes bright enough. It's the first headlight I've gotten that I didn't have to put an aftermarket solution on it, so that was nice. I guess if I had a complaint, and the seat is good, not a complaint. The seat is really awesome. It's soft with this one, particular one. The seat that came with the hard enduro model is really nice. I guess the only complaint I would have would be I did end up having to put a two-stroke performance map on there because it just seemed to be a little boggy going from mid-range to the top end. So that would be, if I had a complaint, that's it. It seemed like it did need that, and I rode it a bit without it, and it just didn't transition well. But that was easy to do. I mean, it was just a matter of plugging it into this port. I have a video on that, and then you flash the map onto your ECU. Simple. So I'm going to go ahead. If you keep watching, I'm going to ride the bike and talk about it. But I just wanted to, for those of you who didn't want to watch the rest of it, and just see what I thought of it. This is hands down the best bike I've ever had. You do have to adjust the sag when you get it, or else you'll think it's the worst bike. When I first got it, I was like, oh man, I made a huge mistake. But once I got the sag adjusted and stuff, I was like, wow, it dialed it in. I guess that's all I have to say for now. Suspension. Best suspension out of the gate that I've had out of the box. I don't plan on doing any aftermarket improvements to this with suspension because it's so good. It just works great. So suspension's great. Engine's like a tractor. Runs well. Fuel economy's actually decent. I don't know why that is, but it seems to be quite good. Maybe because fuel injected. I like how the bike feels. It seems to fit me well. And I don't have trouble getting to the ground, which is odd because I'm 5'6" and some change, 5'6" and a half, 5'6" and 3/4. And I can get to the ground okay because the suspension settles. Once I set the sag right, I settle down to where when I do get into technical areas, I still can get to the ground. It's just been an awesome bike. I did put different tires on it just for the Pacific Northwest where it gets muddy. So I just put like some gummy tires on there. I think a Bridgestone X31 and then a Dunlop AT81 EX, the EX being the gummy part of the tire, and then I'm running tubeless in the rear, which works so well. So, best dirt bike I've ever had for trails. Feel free to watch the rest of the video, and you can see me riding it, and I will talk about it as I ride, but if you want to stop here, you can. But for those of you who want to watch the rest, thanks a lot, and hope this helps. And I'm not sponsored by KTM anyway, all the stuff I bought. I just thought it was worth sharing.
Here we are riding out of Elk Flats today. It's very muddy. Pretty muddy here today, but that's okay. It's Oregon. It's been raining. It's not raining today, so I'm thankful for that. But I just want to talk about this 300 TBI. This is the best dirt bike I've owned, and I've owned a lot. I love my Honda Sierra 450 for the dunes and stuff, but I can honestly tell you that I've been really, really happy with this bike. Suspension is good. Brakes, Brembo brakes are good. And it's just been so good. And I've been really happy with it. Did do a 2-stroke performance ERM map and the medium compression head from 2-stroke performance. The map's really the only thing I felt like maybe I would need to do. I am running some different tires that are better in the wet up here. But I've loved this bike. Out of the box, suspension is great. I don't have any intent on doing anything to it anytime soon. It's just been such a good bike for me. Haven't been able to ride much lately. I'm getting ready to move. So sorry I haven't been able to post up much, but hopefully I get through the move, I'll be able to get back to a little more riding. But I'm riding today. Some good two-wheel therapy. But this bike, I mean, I'm running a Bridgestone X31 on the front and a Dunlop AT81EX, that's the gummy tire. And it has been great. Like, that is muddy, wet roots right there I just went over, and it just gives such good traction. And this kind of stuff, I've been happy. It's not a long-lasting tire if it's hard pack, but as you can see, this is muddy stuff. But just love this bike. I mean, I'm tractoring through awful conditions, and this is what I call this thing, is my tractor. I know a lot of you guys who have 300s can attest. These things are like tractors. They're very stall resistant compared to some of the 4-strokes that I've had. And I do like 4-strokes. A little technical section there. I had to pay attention a little bit. But I'm loving this 300. So maneuverable. I just haven't had any trouble with it. No foul plugs. No issues. So I guess I just wanted to give my review after riding this for 10 hours or so. Actually, like 12 hours. I know I gave a review about it when I first rode it, but this has been my favorite dirt bike. And there's a lot of good dirt bikes out there, so. But I love how you can rev this out. You can use the torque. I can sit a little, I can stand a little, and it just feels good no matter where I'm at. Just point and shoot. So much fun. Crossing here, water crossing, but hey, a good way to summarize is this bike makes me a better rider than I am, which is a good place to be. You know, it's nice to be on a bike that helps make up. If I make a mistake, it helps fix that. So I like that. What mods have I done to this bike? You know, the tubeless system in the rear, the 2-stroke performance ERM flash, a medium compression head. What else have I done? Oh, the XC gear elastomer steering dampener system, but not the steering stabilizer as of yet. I mean, this bike will do anything I need it to do. If you can just hang on, it'll keep going. I really like the handling of it. I did put a fatty pipe on here, an FMF fatty pipe, but I honestly can't tell a big difference. I was going to do a video on it, but it just, it looks cooler. It looks better than the other one, and I do think it gave it a little more grunt, but it's subtle over the stock pipe. I've always had good luck with the FMF gnarly pipes on my two-stroke, so I just, put one on. But that would not be necessary. Oh, this has the best headlight of any stock bike I've ever had. It has a great bulb, and when they say it's, can't remember what they said, 200, 300% brighter than the other one, the old ones. It really is. So headlight's great. Didn't need to change that. And so it's just been such a good bike. If you need to loft the front end like that, you can. It's torquey. It's got some mid-range. It's got some top end. It's just been great. I like the way it looks. I think it looks good. Looks count for something. Especially when you're a rider like me. Maybe it's all I got. So anyway, I'll just kind of tune in and out today, take you along for the ride. We're up here at Elk Flats in the Pacific Northwest. It is very muddy up here today, and this bike, I'd be kind of edgy and stuff like this, but, with this bike, I just feel pretty comfortable with it, even in kind of sketchy conditions. I guess that's how I know I'm on a nice balanced bike. I can just get in the rut, out of the rut. These are good tires, I have to admit. I love the Dunlop's tires, but when it's muddy like this, they just seem to slide around a little bit more than I'm expecting, but these don't. I'll tune back in a little bit. Bit of low end versus mid range, little top end on this bike, but I'm going downhill at the moment, so it's not a great place to demonstrate any of that. But even on the downhill, it's just so trackable. This is roots and rocks and wet and mud and everything, and I've had bikes where this kind of stuff made me feel very uncomfortable, and I'm just at home on this. I can maneuver around them, go over them, kind of point the bike where I want it to be, and it just kind of settles in there. But you do have to make sure you get the rear sag set when you buy it. Mine had like 90 millimeters of sag when I first rode it, and it felt like a stink bug. It was really sketchy. I was actually regretting buying the bike. But now that next ride, I got that set to about 110, 111, and I think KTM recommends around 110. And man, it's been a different bike. Feels so good. Settled the bike right in, and just is great. So you do have to do that first thing. Daryl on the 350, just tearing it up. A great job. Lots of trees up here. You don't really want to hit one of those. They're an abrupt stop. It's like a roller coaster, just winding through the forest, just up and down, and left and right. It's the best. And this bike, I know where the edge of the power band is, so it's not like I get out of it, feel out of control. Just settles in right where I need it, gets traction, lots of torque coming out of a corner. So I love that. Real easy for me to find the middle of the bike, or I don't know where that balancing point is, which I like. Just where the chassis is set up. I did put bar risers in just because I have short arms, and that's definitely helped me be more comfortable, but unless you have T-Rex arms, you probably won't need that. Little downhill section here. Oh, there you go. There's a little spot. First time I've been able to open it up all day. On this pretty steep. Feather the brakes, just let things keep rolling. Muddy, but not horrible. A lot of times the best thing you can do is just let your tires keep rolling. Don't get on the brakes too hard. Just love how I'm a shorter fella. 5'6" on a good day. Or 5'7" on a good day, 5'6" most days. This bike doesn't intimidate me with the height. I haven't lowered it. It just seems like, I don't know. I've had bikes where they were this height and it did, but this one doesn't. I can't exactly tell you why. But I just mentioned it, so if that's a concern. The bike does feel high when I'm sitting in my driveway or garage, but when I'm out riding, I don't know. It feels perfect. A lot of times when I need to get to the ground, I'm in a rut kind of like this, and it's easier to dab a leg. So I don't know. Maybe that's a consideration, is when you need to put a leg down. Usually you're in a rut or something, and the ground is there. Trails are actually in pretty nice shape today. Branches and sticks down, but just get off the brake and roll over them. It says Little Heart Attack Hill, so we'll see what that means.
Intercom failed. Try again later.
second gear lugging, just pulls right out of it. Amazing. Yeah, this bike, it's probably its biggest asset is it's very linear. You can ride it fast, you can ride it slow. If you want to be a little zippier, you can put it in map 2. I'm riding this in the lower, easier map. When it was stock, I found the easier map too easy, and I like the higher map, but with the 2-stroke performance map, I like the easier map. But if it's wider open, I'd go with a more aggressive map. A little downhill here. And the suspension still feels good to me. You sure? I just love how this bike finds traction. I don't feel out of control. This is kind of a sketchy second section through here. Just get off the brakes and let those wheels roll. That's the best thing you can do. Such a good maneuverable bike. little downhill. This thing reminds me of a 4-stroke sometimes, how torquey it is. I like the clutch on this bike. I like the brakes. I like the frame geometry. I like everything about it. I like the suspension. When it was new, before I put the 2-stroke performance map on it, it just seemed to have a little stumble out of the mid-range. A little flat spot, but it was okay, but I like this better now. That's narrow. And this bike is so precise in its steering. I can just put it right where I want to put it. Gotta give kudos to one of the guys riding with us today. He's 70 years old, over 70 years old, and he's out here riding trails, having a good time. Love it. He's an inspiration. Had knee replacement and other things, and he's out here riding. Heck, he's right behind me right now. I love it. I can only hope that I'll be able to say the same thing down the road. So there we were giving each other signs. I was telling them with one finger held up, I had one more rider behind me. If I was the last one, I would have held up a closed fist. You know, obviously if there's 2 riders behind me, I would have said held up a 2. So yeah, it's good to communicate when we're out here on the trails, help each other out. Always a good thing.